Hello there and warm welcome to Alumba Television. My name is Angel Lily. And like always, we will bring you information that is Nigerian government. And of course, we would always bring you the headlines on what's trending on our newspaper before we head straight to our story for the day. And looking at that, you can get the stories from Elumba Television online. Our site is at www.elumba.com. All right, let's quickly take a glance at what's making news on our site today. Of course, heading is the hashtag NSAS protest, UK response to petition to sanction Nigerian government. And we have revealing how Abacha Abiola died by Susan Rice. We also have Obi Mons Balarabe Musa says Nigeria has lost a strong voice against bad governance and corruption. We also have breaking Ghanaian former military ruler Jerry Rawlings died from COVID-19. Still breaking, we were concerned by violence during recent protests in Nigeria. That's coming from UK government. Now let's go some more to other stories that we have right here on the Alumba television site. Chimamanda crowned women's winner of all winners. That's another story that we'll look at in the course of our news for today. Ex-governor Imo, ex-governor of Imo State, Governor Ihedi or Hakim, arraigned for alleged 419, gets 10 million naira bail. And on the positive side, we have Innocent wins 2020 Car Maker Award of the Year. And we also have foreigner bags 2 years imprisonment for stealing in Oshun. And Lady 22 found dead inside gutter in Anambra State. Over now to the special report section of Elumba Television site. Southern Kaduna Union lists persons killed or kidnapped and communities. And let's move forward to the politics section of site. Buhari approves 62.7 billion naira for Kano Castina Zamfara Road. And Tinubu lauds Sanwo-Olu over abrogation of pension for ex-governors and deputies. We go further to our analysis section of the Elumba television news site. Why Buhari, Buni, APC, and Nigerians must reclaim Edo State. This report is by Sebastian Eboham. And we also have When We Can Rewrite Nigeria in Arabic, What Matters is Governance by Frederick Wabofo. And still on the analysis side, we have From NSAS to Clamp Down by Olusegun Adeniyi. And still on the analysis, we have Opinion US Election. Nigeria doesn't like to learn good lessons by Azuka Onka. These are stories that you can read up on our site. Okay, and the site is www.elumba.com. Now let's go to the details of the story for today. Hashtag NSAS UK response to petition to sanction Nigerian government and officials. Let's see the details. The UK government has responded to the petition calling on the British government to implement sanctions against the Nigerian government and officials. This petition has 219,720 signatures as of 12th November 2020. In an email to Ilamba News, the petitions team, UK government and parliament stated that the petitions committee will consider it for a debate. They can also gather further evidence and press the government for action. The committee is made up of 11 members of parliament from political parties in government and in opposition. It is entirely independent of the government. Now we have the story in quote. We were concerned by violence during recent protests and await the outcome of Nigerian investigations into reports of police brutality. We do not publicly speculate on future sanctions designations. Now, we also remember that the Nigerian government has said it is investigating the hashtag NSAS and the protest, the outcome of the Lekki shooting, what happened, who shot and who sent the army. Of course, all of this investigation are still ongoing, and the masses have not gotten response or clarified response as to who sent the military to shoot the protesters at the Lekki toll gates. Well, the UK government further went to say the UK government is deeply concerned by violence during recent protests in Nigeria, which tragically claimed lives. Our thoughts are with the families of all those affected. The Foreign Secretary issued a statement on the 21st of October calling for an end to the violence and for the Nigerian government to urgently investigate reports of brutality by its security forces and hold those responsible to account. The Minister for Africa tweeted on 16th October noting the Nigerian people's democratic and peaceful calls for reforms, and again on October 21st, encouraging the Nigerian authorities to restore peace and address concern over brutality towards civilians. He reiterated these messages when he spoke to Foreign Minister Onyema on 23rd of October. The British High Commissioner in Abuja has also raised the protest with representatives of the Nigerian government and will continue to do so. We welcome President Muhammadu Buhari's decision to disband the Federal Special Anti-Robbery Squad, FSAS, and the establishment of judicial panels of inquiry to investigate alleged incidents of brutality by the security services. They must investigate all incidents, including Lagos, fully. The Minister for Africa tweeted on 29 October stressing the importance of the police and military's cooperation with the panels. He raised this and the need for the panels to urgently start investigations when he spoke to the government of Lagos on 11th of November. The UK government will continue to work with the Nigerian government and international and civil society partners to support justice, accountability, and a more responsive policing model in Nigeria. We will continue to push for the Nigerian security services to uphold human rights and the rule of law, investigate all incidents of brutality, illegal detention, and use of excessive force, and hold those responsible to account. On 6th July, the government established the global human rights sanctions regime by laying regulations in Parliament under the Sanctions or an Anti-Money Laundering Act 2018. In a statement to Parliament, the Foreign Secretary set out in full the scope of the UK's new global human rights sanction regime. He announced the first tranche of designation as well as the government's approach to future designations. This sanctions regime will give the UK a powerful new tool to hold to account those involved in serious human rights violations or abuses. The sanctions regime is not intended to target individual countries. It will allow the sanctions to be imposed on individuals and entities involved in serious human rights violations or abuses around the world. He will continue to consider potential designations under the global human rights sanctions regime. It is long-standing practice not to speculate on future sanctions designation, as to do so could reduce the impact of the designations. The UK government will keep all evidence and potential listings under close review. Foreign, Commonwealth and Development Office. And then finally, in the petition calling on Britain to implement sanctions against the Nigerian government and officials, requested that the government should explore using the new sanction regime that allows individuals and entities that violate human rights around the world to be targeted, to impose sanctions on members of the Nigerian government and police force involved in any human rights abuse by the Nigerian people. The UK Parliament considers all petitions that get more than 100,000 signatures for a debate. Now, this seems to be some hope for the Nigerian people, as so many petitions have been going about since the hashtag EndSARS protest started and came to a halt. People have come up with different petitions to different countries saying, we need attention, we need your assistance. And here is another response coming from the UK, considering the petitions as it has over 200 signatures for a debate. Let's keep our fingers crossed and wait for the response that we'll get from the UK in the coming days. And of course, we will bring you details on that story. And now we move to the next story for today. This one is Chimamanda crowned Women's Winner of all winners of past 25 years. Chimamanda has been tagged a feminist and a very dogged one at that because she, over time, stands against injustice against women, violence against women, and you see this in all of her posts and all of her write-ups. She has this going like it's not a hidden fact at all. And of course, many people have criticized her, many have fought, many, in fact, in some groups, if you talk, they'll be like, this is Chimamanda's person, this is Chimamanda's person. Like, you know so much and you want this to stand. Well, that has gotten her to yet another level where we see Chimamanda crowned women's winner of all winners of past 25 years. Let's get the story. Chimamanda Ngozi Adichie has been awarded the Women's Prize for Fiction Winner of Winners for her novel Half of a Yellow Sun in London on Thursday, 12th November 2020. This happened today. The public chose Chimamanda's novel over a stellar lineup including Zadie Smith, the late Andre Levy, Lana Shriver, Rose Truman, and Maggie's O'Farrell, among others. A full list of available stories. And we have the Swan-Off Awards mark the culmination of the prize year-long 25-year. This one-off award marks the culmination of the prize's year-long 25th anniversary celebration, forming a key part of our Reading Women campaign, which champions a quarter of a century of phenomenal winners. Throughout 2020, thousands of readers embarked on a challenge to read all 25 previous winners of the prize, joining the prize's digital book club to share their thoughts and download our newly created online reading guides and exclusive author interviews. Over 8,500 people joined in the club vote in September. Half of a Yellow Sun, Chimamanda Ngozi Adichie's hunting novel, originally won the Women's Prize for Fiction, then the Orange Prize in 2007. Set in Nigeria during the Biafra War, the novel is about the end of colonialism, ethnic allegiances, class, race, and female empowerment, and how love can complicate all of those things. First published in 2006, it garnered critical and popular acclaim around the world and was adapted into a film starring Chiwetel Ejiofor and Tandy Newton in the lead roles and was released worldwide in 2013. Chimamanda, who is currently in Lagos, Nigeria, thanked the prize for this special award. I am especially, in her words, I am especially moved to be voted winner of winners because this is the prize that first brought a wide readership to my work and has also introduced me to the work of many talented writers. Adichie will be presented with a specially commissioned silver edition of the prize's annual statute, known as the Basil, which was originally created and donated by the artist Grizel Niven as part of the gift of an anonymous donor. Chimamanda Ngozi Adichie will talk further about her writing and being chosen for the Winner of Winners award in an exclusive live online event hosted by founder-director Kate Moss and the Women's Prize for Fiction on Sunday, 6 December at 7 p.m. GMT. Tickets are available via the Women's Prize for Fiction's website. Okay? And that's one story about Chimamanda Adichie winning that Winner of Winners award. Now let's go over to the next story. This one has ex-Imo Governor Hakeem arraigned for alleged 419 gets 10 million naira bail. Let's see the details together. A former Imo Governor Ikedi Hakeem was on Wednesday arraigned before a High Court of the Federal Capital Territory (FCT) in Maitama for alleged offences related to obtaining bad tricks, aka 419. Former Ikedi Hakeem was also accused of giving false information to the police against one Chinyere Amuchenwa, who he claimed threatened him with gun, a false claim. According to the police, Hakeem lied to Amuchenwa between 2007 and 2011 that he had a plot of land for sale in Lagos State. He was alleged to have dropped the name of the Minister of Works and Housing, Babatunde Raji Fashola's son, as owner of the purported land situated at Ikeja, the state capital. When things did not go out as expected, he reached to the police with false allegations against him. In the charge marked CR 993/2020, filed in the name of the Inspector General of Police IGP, Hakim was said to have committed an offense punishable under Section 140 of the Penal Code Law of the Northern Nigeria, 1968. The ex-governor pleaded not guilty when the three-count charges was read to him. His lawyer, Ken Njemanze San, later applied for bail and prayed the court to release the defendants pending the conclusion of trial. Prosecution's lawyer Stanley Wodo opposed the bail application, saying that the accused would interfere with their witnesses. Wodo also noted that the defendants ignored several invitations, which prompted the police to issue warrant of arrest on him. And finally, on that story, we have ruling Justice Samira Baturi granted bail to Hakim at 10 million naira with one surety in like sum. The surety, the judge ruled, must be a reputable person in the society with a verifiable address within the FCT. He also ordered Hakim not to interfere with any of the witnesses, as such would force the court to revoke his bail. The case was subsequently adjourned till January 25, 2021 for trial. And off to the next, this is another good news. We have Innocent wins 2020 Car Maker of the Year award. Innocent is a known man that's been making cars in Nigeria, and Nigeria seems to be towing up the ladder, and we're going to the global scene where we're having positive news coming on, filtering in from different quarters. And this one is yet another interesting one. Let's see the story. Chief Innocent Chukuma, chairman of Innocent Vehicle Manufacturing Company Limited, emerged winner of the Car Maker of the Year 2020 Igbere TV Leadership Excellence Award. The award is endorsed by the African Union Economic, Social and Cultural Council, AU, ECOSOC. In a 7-day voting by Nigerians via online platforms monitored by the news agency of Nigeria, NAN, Innocent defeated 5 other nominees. NAN reports that the other nominees are Paver Singh, Nissan, Tokumbo, Aromolara, Hyundai, and Jackie Hitaramani, Kia, and Mohamed Mone Jafaru Pojo. The awards presentation, slated for December, recognized and honor outstanding impacts of leaders across several sectors and industries in Nigeria. The award also applauds excellence, achievements, performance, humanitarian activities, and philanthropic gestures. Some of the awardees in different categories are Chief Olusegun Obasanjo, Senator Rabiu Kwankwaso, Apostle Chinyere Chibuzo, Olakunle Churchill, and Dr. Betta Edu, among others. And that's it. Congratulations to the chairman of Innocent Motors. And still on our news for today, we have foreigner bags 2-year imprisonment for stealing in Osun State. Let's see the details of the story. The 34-year-old Nigerian and father of 2, identified as Dauda Abdullahi, was on Wednesday sentenced to 2 years imprisonment for stealing from a machine tool company in Osun State. Abdullahi had pleaded guilty to 1-count charge of stealing when he was arraigned before an Osogbo Magistrates Court, Osun State, on November 6, 2020. The police prosecutor, Mr. John Idoko, had informed the court during the arraignment that Abdullahi, on November 2, 2020, at about 2 p.m., at Steel Rolling Company area, Osogbo, in the Osogbo Magistral District, did steal a sack bag full of iron nuts, screws, and bolts valued 200,000 naira, property of Machine Tools Company, and thereby committed an offense contrary to Section 383 and punishable under Section 390 of the Criminal Code, Cap. 34, Volume 2, Laws of Osun State of Nigeria. Chief Magistrate Court Dr. Olusegun Ayilara on Wednesday convicted Abdullahi on 1-count charge. The counsel for the convict, Ismail Musa, pleaded with a magistrate to temper justice with mercy, saying the convict is a father of 2. Dr. Ayilara sentenced him to 2 years imprisonment with an option of 10,000 naira fine. And that's it. We have the next story, Lady 22 found inside gutter in Anambra State. Let's read the details. A 22-year-old lady has been found dead inside a drainage along Osumeyi Akwihedi Road, Osumeyi in Newi South local government area of Anambra State. According to the nation, the deceased, whose identity is yet to be ascertained, was suspected to have been murdered. The young lady was discovered by a Good Samaritan with mark of violence on her neck. It was gathered that the deceased's mouth was also sealed with tape while her legs and hands were tied with rope. Police spokesperson Harina Mohammed confirmed the incident, saying efforts were on to apprehend the perpetrators. He said on the 10th of November 2020 at about 12 p.m., there was a report by a Good Samaritan from Osumei in Nnewi South local government area that a girl whose name and address is yet to be ascertained, aged about 22, was seen lying lifeless inside a gutter along Osumei Road in Osumei with mark of violence on her neck, mouth was sealed with tape while her legs and hands were tied with rope. Scene was visited by police operatives attached to Nnewi Area Command, and victim was rushed to Visitation Hospital, Osumei, where she was confirmed dead by the doctor on duty. Corpse was photographed and deposited at the same hospital morgue for autopsy, and efforts being intensified to ascertain circumstances surrounding the incident in order to apprehend perpetrators and bring them to book. And we have here another story. This is a report actually revealing how Abacha Abiola died by Susan Rice. You also might want to read the story up on the Alumba television site. And we move on to the next. Okay, let's quickly take a look at the details. That was the opening line in the written account of the last hour of the late Bashir Mohammed Kashimo Olawale Abiola, as told by Ambassador Susan Rice. She was one of the visiting American diplomats in whose presence the presumed winner of the 1999 presidential election died on 7th July 1998. More significantly, Rice was the one who served Abiola the famous last tea. For the past 22 years, the former National Security Advisor to President Barack Obama has refrained from speaking on what exactly happened that day. But in her memo, Tough Love, My Story of the Things Worth Fighting For, Rice recounts not only how Abiola died, but also confirmed the street gossip about the last hour of the late General Sani Abacha. In the memo, Rice also recounts how she was conceived in Lagos during the 2 years her parents spent in Nigeria, as a time her father was helping in the establishment of the Central Bank of Nigeria, CBN, after independence. As the American diplomat with Africa, as her brief, Rice also recalls how many of the crises on the continent, especially the one that eventually led to the death of Colonel Muammar Gaddafi in Libya, and the encounters she had at different times with African leaders, including former President Olusegun Obasanjo, who on one occasion was nonchalantly hauling well-picked chicken bones, much to our amusement, backward over his shoulders across the presidential suits. Now let's begin with a history of one of the most momentous periods in Nigeria's political history, from Rice, a former U.S. ambassador to the United Nations, the death of Abacha. In quote, in early July 1998, I traveled to Nigeria with on the secrecy of State for Political Affairs Tom Pickering, who was then among the most senior career Foreign Service officers. As Assistant Secretary of State for African Affairs, I had gotten to know Pickering, my immediate boss, as a wise, fast-talking, and deeply knowledgeable diplomat. Having served as ambassador to 6 major countries and the United Nations, Pickering had seen and heard almost everything. The purpose of our trip to Nigeria was to encourage a responsible political transition. The nasty former dictator Sani Abacha had died a month earlier in the company of prostitutes. Viagra was reportedly involved. His interim successor was a moderate leader, Abdulsalami Abubakar, who hoped to shepherd Nigeria through a democratic election to select its new leader. The primary objective of our visit was to meet the wrongfully imprisoned opposition leader, Moshood Abiola. He was the presumed winner of Nigeria's 1993 election, but the results were annulled and he was later arrested. We hoped to negotiate his freedom so that he could participate in the upcoming election. Along with Pickering and U.S. Ambassador to Nigeria, Bill Twaddell, I met Mr. Abiola in an austere government guest house on the vast presidential complex in the capital city, Abuja. A large and imposing man, Abiola came with his minder shortly after we arrived. Pickering, a former ambassador to Nigeria, knew Abiola from years past and greeted him warmly. Abiola, robust and happy to see us, sat on the couch and began to tell us how poorly he had been treated during his 4 years in prison. He was wearing sandals and multi-layered traditional Nigerian dress. I noted that his ankles were swollen. About 5 minutes into the conversation, Abiola started to cough. At first, mildly and intermittently, and then rattling with consistency. He said it was hot, so I asked his dutiful minder, please turn on the air conditioning. Noticing the tea service on the table between us, I offered Abiola, would you like some tea to help calm your cough? Yes, he said with appreciation, and I poured him a cup. He sipped it, but continued coughing. Increasingly uncomfortable, Abiola removed his outer layer, leaving one layer of top. I shot Pickering a worried glance. The coughing became dramatic. I told the assembled men, I think we better call for a doctor. No one argued. The minder immediately placed a call. Abiola asked to be excused and went into the bathroom of our meeting room. When he emerged, he was bare-chested and sweating profusely, barely able to talk. He lay down on the couch, retching, and then rolled face down onto the floor. The doctor arrived promptly, took a quick look at him, and declared that Abiola was having a heart attack and must be transported to the hospital immediately. The men labored to lift the heavy Abiola into a small car, and we rushed to the nearby rudimentary presidential hospital. I grabbed his eyeglasses off a side table where he left them. His only belonging, thinking of his daughter Hafsat in the US, whom I would meet, who I had met before we left. The doctors worked on him furiously, but within an hour they pronounced him dead. We braced for violence. Abiola's sudden and mysterious death would hit like a bombshell in Nigeria's political tinderbox. Conspiracy theories will spread like metastatic cancer. Serious unrest throughout Nigeria was possible. Washington would hyperventilate, since it is not every day a major figure drops dead with senior US officials. His family would need to be told. And urgently, Nigeria's acting president will have to hear directly from us, even though his minister was present at the hospital and knew how it went down. Ambassador Twadell panicked and urged me and Pickering to rush to the airport and leave the country immediately. Hell no, we said. The delicate situation required deft management and not a hurried exit into a cloud of suspicion. Right away, I called National Security Advisor Sandy Berger, my former boss, briefed him and dedicated a White House press release, and dictated a White House press release. Then we went to the Nigerian Presidential Palace to relay the entire drama to the acting president. We urged him to issue a careful statement to announce the establishment of an autopsy by international experts. In order to quell wrath, speculation, and limit the potential violence, the acting president did both. Next, Pickering Twadell and I went with former Nigerian Foreign Minister Baba Kingabe to see Abiola's wives and daughters. All of us walked in together, but soon I realized that I was effectively alone in the room with these distraught women. The men had hung far back and left the job to me, just like the pouring of a tea. I proceeded to explain that the husband and father was dead. He had died of an apparent heart attack that began in our meeting. The doctors did all they could to save him, but could not. The lady's wailing was so intense, it haunts me till this day. We briefed the press and I returned to the US Embassy to write the official cable to report what had happened. As a senior official, I almost never wrote up cables summarizing meetings, but in this case, there was no more efficient way to ensure we got this very important history straight. As I was typing ahead in the distance on the CNN, a familiar voice of indignation. It was none other than the Reverend Jesse Jackson, then serving as President Clinton's special envoy for the promotion of democracy in Africa. Reverend Jackson served capably in this role and with good intentions, but on this occasion, I could have throttled him. He was rattling about how Abiola died under suspicious circumstances in the meeting with US officials. I could not believe my ears. Our own guy implying we were killers. Immediately, I placed a call to his long-term aide, Yuri, and asked them to shut the Reverend down. Please, just get him off the set. That happened even as I was still watching the segment. We stayed overnight in Nigeria to try to calm things, offer any needed assistance to the government, and make an orderly departure Fortunately, despite the public's upset, no significant violence occurred. The autopsy eventually confirmed the cause of death as heart attack. Nonetheless, it was Nigeria where conspiracy theories abound. The most popular, which still has currency over 20 years later, is that I killed Abiola by pouring him poison tea. From that experience, I found that being a woman policymaker comes with unique hazards. The men would not have offered, much less taught, to pour the tea. They may have swiftly called for a doctor. They may not have been able to break the bad news to the wives. Not for the first time, it was I, not they, who took the public fall for a crime nobody committed. Okay, so this is the account of Susan Rice on how Abiola died. You also might want to read that up from Elumba television site, that is at www.elumba.com. Okay, so this is where we call it a wrap for today. On our news for today, what's trending, what's making news on the papers. You also might want to read some more because we have a lot of stories, we have special reports, we have news, we have politics and analysis. We have more on the site, so you visit www.elumba.com. That's our site, our website, and you can also follow us on Instagram at Elumba TV, on Facebook, like our page, and for you to get all of this information, see what's happening and what we're up with on our next post and on our next broadcast, subscribe to our YouTube channel and hit the notification button. That way you get the information as it drops. You get all of our news firsthand. Okay, so you just hit the subscribe button on YouTube, turn on notification, and the stories will come to you first before it gets to someone else. I've been Angel Lady, and I'm saying many thanks for always being there. You have a good day now.